Welcome back to Bible and Blues, my friends. Tonight is Friday night, which means we are doing Emerald City Episode 8. This one I found out is titled Lions in Winter. Um, I didn't take very many notes. I actually just kind of sat and enjoyed the show because I think I get a better review. Not a lot going on with the wizard himself on this one. He's referred to quite a bit, but he leaves the city of Oz with the intent, and on his way to go pick up the guns that Lady Ev was building for him. So we know there's an amount of time involved here. So I don't know what kind of production quality, the system Lady Ev has, but it's actually relatively impressive. So he's off to go pick up the guns from Lady Ev, knowing that those things are going to be instrumental in his battle against magic, because he hates magic with a passion. See a lot of congruity in certain things here between magic, science, and the battle that we see today between religion and science. And it's not even a battle. I'm not sure what the heck's going on with it. But because as a Christian, I totally believe that science is 100% compatible with what I do. So there's the difference. But he has a real problem with magic, just like a lot of atheist people I know that have a real problem with religion. There you go. He'd like to see it just completely go away. So would a lot of the atheists that I know. So, what do you do? Neither one's going to happen. There you go. So the wizard left Oz. He left Captain Amon in charge of the city of Oz, and the guy wanted to go with him. He's a good soldier. He wants to be with his ruler, and so you don't blame him on that. He wants to do that. So, but like I said, there's not a whole lot to do with the wizard. So we're gonna move on to West, the witch West, and Tip, and because Tip, we just found out that Tip is Princess Awesome. Anyway. And Tip is kind of, she's still pretty dumb, really, when you come right down to it. She has this her backup, and she's like, when do I get to choose? It's because it's like, you're the princess, and it's like, so now you have to do this, and it's like, once again, she's being told what to do, right? She went from being the prisoner as a boy to being told that now she's a girl. And she always was, but all she remembers being ever is a boy. So she, and to, being a servant for West, to now she's a princess. And she's like, well, when do I get to choose what I do? So West actually did a pretty good job here. She says, you can choose, you can be an orphan with no past and no future, or you can be the princess and the ruler of the city of Oz. Your choice. Now you get to choose. So it appears that Tip chooses, the princess section. Seems like a better option for most people. So West takes her to, what in the city of Oz is their temple, and she flies her there, which is kind of cool. And they go to the catacombs down below, obviously, the wizard has no idea this exists. This is where they keep the magic that's left over after a witch dies. So this is a very important area for them. It's as important as burying our dead. Is to us, perhaps even more so, because this is actually their heritage. This is their lineage. This is, actually pieces of them in a different way than just a physical corporal, body. We consider when a person dies, the body is done, and we're just doing this for us. except for those who feel that, when Jesus comes back and resurrects everybody, we're going to need a body to resurrect to. But that's a point of contention among Christians. So I'm not going to get into those weeds. But then there's so they go down there, and here in this one spot is the magic that was East, who was the one that got shot in the head, and West's idea is, Tip needs to drink this magic in order to gain power. It's like, well, what's going to happen? You're going to protect me, right? Well, West doesn't give her any assurances, and it's a darn good thing too, because she drinks it and then pretty much looks like she dies. So West takes her down to essentially a water pond of some kind, and drops her in there, saying she's so sorry and everything about it, and and Tip's body sinks in the water. Okay, so which takes us to Glinda and Dorothy and Lucas. So Lucas is Glinda's husband and has been for a couple of years, apparently. Apparently, Glinda produced a spell on Lucas to take away his memory of her to protect him out there. So apparently, so that his relationship with her couldn't be used against her or against him. So that was why he couldn't remember who he was. Now, mind you, I don't think she planned on him sleeping with Dorothy either. Or falling in love with Dorothy. So this is causing some serious complications, okay, in this whole thing. The castle, for Glinda's castle, is a pretty neat castle. It's made out of a white marble, but they have these cracks running through it, and they're severe looking cracks. They look structurally unsound. Magic, okay, whatever, fine. So Dorothy is in a cell, as it were. It's just a round marble room. Call it what you want. And she's in there with another woman. Apparently, this woman was one of Glinda's council people that she sent around to the wizard and people like that. And the girl had gotten pregnant, and this was a crime. Because Glinda can't get pregnant. She's a witch, and only the witch of the South can make children of any kind. So I guess, I don't know. This is matter of jealousy or something. I don't know. So the father of the child was killed, and she's been imprisoned. They're not going to kill her because they want the baby to be born. There's occasionally Lucas comes into the room, and Glinda and everybody, and it's a very uncomfortable situation. He's trying very hard he loves his wife Glinda, and apparently, and he also loves Dorothy. So he's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. He wants Glinda to forgive him for this, and she's not ready to forgive anything on this. So he wasn't supposed to fall in love with Dorothy or anybody else. So Dorothy's in here, and all of a sudden, the woman she's with goes into labor, and they hear the screaming, and the Glinda's there, and she's trying to save the baby and the mother. The baby is breech, and she wants to do her job because she's a nurse, and so she she has this whole thing where she's going to save the baby and save the mother, but she needs help, and so Glinda, in her own callous way, provides help. And Lucas is there, and Lucas sees her help this woman give birth, and is just is it's a bit of an epiphany moment for him, and he's it's like he falls in love with her even further. Glinda sees this, and she's just, of course, hits the roof. Doesn't kill anybody, which is good, which is a good sign for her, you know. Um, so, but the baby survives, and the new mother survives. That's wonderful. During this time, during all of this, Sylvia is also in there. The little girl. She has another name, Lee probably. I'm not sure how it's been pronounced. And turn so she's, this is actually technically speaking where she belongs, where she was supposed to end up in the first place. And they're trying to eat. She's trying to eat with the other girls, and the other girls use their magic to pull her bowl away from her. Typical childhood, child teasing, another testing, setting pecking orders, things like that. And so so she tries to retaliate to a certain extent. She pulls it back over to herself by hand, and then the girl next to her pulls it away by magic. And this goes on for a minute, and then she tries to use magic to do it, and she turns it to the ash, dust thing that she turns people into. And everybody's like, okay, whatever. That's, you obviously don't have any control here. So they kind of snicker at her the way, kids do. So, she's not getting anything to eat. So next meal, she figures it out, and she pulls her bowl back to herself, and then, the girls kind of take notice. Oh, she's catching on. All right, good for her. And then she pulls she uses her magic and deliberately does this. She pulls several other bowls to her, and just to kind of in your face kind of thing, back at you. And she gets an applause from the other girls. And this is something. I mean, kids really relish is that kind of admiration of their peers. I mean, we do it as adults too. We want the admiration of our peers as well. So that's nothing unusual at all. So this has an effect though. So back over to Dorothy. We're going to stick with this little area here for a minute. Glinda has seen this, what Dorothy did, and that Dorothy, saved this baby, and this is kind of what she does. She's a healer. So she takes Dorothy over to this other room, and this other room is all these girls who are burned out, who were pushed past their limits and shouldn't have been pushed so hard. Dorothy's mad about it because this happened because Glinda is pushing the girls, and it's like, well, you shouldn't be doing this. You're hurting them. You're not supposed to. She's like, what she'll do. And Glinda's like, she's in the mindset of, I need soldiers for a war. So, kind of attitude. So, this is what happened. So she's supposed, her job now at this point is to take care of these girls and make them better again. And she doesn't know how to do this. This is something totally different. This is totally different than what she's been doing in the past. And then Lucas brings another one in, and this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for. Lucas brings this other girl in who's been damaged, and all of a sudden, she's mad. Dorothy's pissed off, so it seems like she only has control over those gauntlets when she's mad or in an emergency. So, but she's mad, so she can get these things to work, and so she goes. She opens up the doorway, which takes magic to do to get through there, and she heads straight, and she finds her way to Glinda's bedroom, and Lucas's too. Lucas is chasing her as she heads there, and she wraps Glinda up. Glinda's asleep, and she wraps her up in a blanket and stringing her up by magic. So she's hanging her in a cocoon of her own sheets, her own bedding. It was rushed pretty cool. And Lucas stops her with words, and she takes she releases Glinda. She takes off, and she finds Sylvia, and she's saying, "Sylvia, come on, let's go. We're out of here." And Sylvia's like, "This is where I belong. I like it here." You know, and Dorothy's like, I mean, kind of in shock because she was, hoping to take somebody with her, but nope, it's not going to happen. You're not taking the girl with you either. You don't get Lucas, and you don't get the girl. This whole trip, and you didn't kill Glinda. This whole trip's been pretty much a disaster for you here, Dorothy. So she takes off. She leaves with Toto. She does end up with Toto on a horse. Okay, so there's that. Meanwhile, after she leaves, Glinda and Lucas are sitting there, and Glinda's of course quite mad, and and Lucas is saying, "Listen, I understand, but she has a hold on me now. You need to take this off me with your magic." And she's like, "I can't. And you need to do this. You need to do this by killing Dorothy. It's the only way it's going to happen." And he's like, "I can't." And she's like, "If you don't, I will." So. Now Lucas is going to be after Dorothy. And a short thing on Jack and Lady Ev. So Jack and Lady Ev. Lady Ev's a queen now, and she has all her duties as a queen. She still doesn't really consider Jack as really much of an asset for her. She still considers herself his owner. He wakes up and she's gone. She's doing her queenly duties, and and he has a couple of servants there all of a sudden in front of him, asking him, "Would you like a bath? Would you like this? Would you like to go for a carriage ride? Would you like to do what would you like to do, sir? We're here to entertain you and keep you out of her hair." So he doesn't like that too much. So he's he ends up seeking her out and finds her, and she's like, "I'll deal with you later. I'll talk to you later. This is not your time here." And she's actually examining the guns, and so later on, the day's over. Lady F comes into the apartments and where he's at, and they have some words, and that whole ownership thing comes into play, and pretty much she says, "Hey, if I don't own you, you'll leave. Anything I don't own is gone. I'll prove it. You're free. You can go. You can do anything you want." And sure enough, she was right. He's mad enough. He gets into some regular clothes, and and he leaves. But he doesn't get very far. Pretty soon he's down. He's at ground level at the castle. Here come a bunch of soldiers with the guns. On this balcony that he's happens to be on, which is kind of more like upper level, a level of a staircase. And who shows up? But the wizard has showed up to pick up his guns, and the guards. Well, Lady Ev is still pissed off at the wizard for her dad. So, and everything else. I mean, everything else that happened 20 years ago, when their town got leveled because of the beast. And so she's still mad about that. She's never forgiven him for that, even though she was a little girl at the time. So she pretty much the final scene is we see the guns leveled on being leveled onto the wizard. Like they're gonna kill him. We only have a couple episodes left, so I don't know. We're going to go back to Tip and West because there was something I forgot to mention. That was that when Tip took the magic, right? She accessed her memories as a baby when her parents were trying to get squirrel her away to safety and flee on their own. And they were unsuccessful. The ones that killed her parents, the person who was the wizard was there, and this soldier who was wearing a lion's head mask with metal jaw. It was actually pretty kind of cool actually, but that's who killed her parents. And so she saw that before she supposedly died. Um, and later, we see the captain, Amon, uh, opens up a chest, and he was the one that the had the mask on. And so, uh, you know, there's that problem right there. That's gonna be an issue later on. I'm quite positive of that. Um, so then, but West is she's distraught. She went to her sister, and her sister essentially rejected her. She wanted to know where her mother was, south, and Glinda wouldn't tell her. So she got completely rejected. She goes back to the temple in Oz, and she slits her own wrists. I'm not sure if it was part of if it was actual out of tragedy trying to kill herself, or if it was part of a spell. But I don't think it was a spell because she used magic, and it was, and she went this way. Okay, so she was trying to, and both sides, and she was trying to, do the job. And then before she dies, we don't see if she dies. We don't see her die. Tip walks up, and so Tip's alive then. I mean, she's soaking wet because she was, underwater, but Tip's alive, and and so I'm thinking she's going to save West. So we're going to see what happens. She's going to have some power, things like that. So anyway, that was Wizard of Oz. That was Emerald City, episode 8, in a nutshell. 45 minutes worth of television in 20 minutes, and not too bad. Hardly any notes. So, what did you think of the show? You're watching it. This is actually, these reviews are actually my most popular thing right now. So, make some comments down below. Tell me what you thought of what was going on. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you thought of it. What do you think of my reviews in general? Do I need to keep doing what should I follow up these this with? Because there's only a couple more episodes. What should I move on to? Should I move on to doing more television reviews? Is there something you want me to do, or should I, maybe I'll get back into more music again, doing music. I still need to write some actual original stuff. I only have one song, and it's only so. It needs a lot of work. So, but give me your opinion, give me your thoughts down below. If you like it, hit that like button. If you really like it, why not hit the subscribe button? There's one right down here, right there. Okay, little tiny button right there. Hit that thing. If not, hey, there's one popping up. Nope, it's popping up right over here. Okay, it's right about there. Okay, and then there's one. Then there's So if you want to check out some other stuff here, I have something here, and I have something here, and I have something over here. So tell me what you think. Give me a holler out.